Rory, I forget, Rory something. And he, there, the Ed Benes cover here. Let's face it. Hi, I'm Glenn Simpson. I've collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today we're looking at box number 124. We're going to start off with a question. We're going to finish up the cues with some Questprobe and Quicksilver. We're going to get into Ragman and Raven and Rawhide Kid and the Ray, and finish up with some Red Hood and the Outlaws, among other things. It's going to be a great time. Let's get going here on Glenn Simpson's Comics. Alright, so picking up where we left off on the last box, we have issue 17. We were talking about the question, so I have more questions for you. One thing we did mention last time, of course, is, for those who don't know, so when Alan Moore was writing Watchmen, he originally was using the Charlton characters, and so the question was one of them. DC decided that what he was doing with the characters was a little bit too final. You know, they might want to use them for other things, so he changed them. So, of course, the question was changed into Rorschach. Anyway, issue 17 through issue 20. There, Rick Magyar comes on to do art, taking the place of Dennis Cowan, so arguably not quite as good. Issue 21, we do have some Cowan and Sienkiewicz back there. Here, that's a spooky ass cover. Through issue 24. I guess Cowan wasn't gone that long. Must have just been taking a vacation. There. Everybody deserves a vacay every once in a while. 25. Through 28. Okay, so in 28 we get the return of Lady Shiva, and I think Richard Dragon, but Lady Shiva. And I really didn't, when I first read this, appreciate, you know, who Lady Shiva was, but she had been, you know, the Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter series had run all through you know, for a nice long time in the 70s, and, you know, she had been a supporting character there. And so, and I believe Dennis O'Neil wrote some of that, all of that. So he was basically bringing back those characters that he had written before, and so, and you know, giving her a more, you know, up-to-date clothing and you know, hair and everything. She kind of, we're in the Janet Jackson is big right now, let's just say. And so there's some influence there, but didn't really at the time appreciate what I was, you know, where this character was coming from. So, but issue 28, we'll see that actually in the near future with the R's. Issue 29. There. Through 32. This scene does not literally happen in the book. I forgot to put my wedding ring on this morning. Nobody worry, everything's fine. I just forgot to put it on. For those of you who pay attention to these things. 33. There versus this big guy that he's so big and tough. The question literally has a hard time with it. We are also in trench coats are a big deal time frame as well. lots of trench coats. 33, you know, Matrix and stuff. So 37 is, so 36 was the original last issue. The character goes on to do various things. We get to the 52 series, and the character dies in 52, and Renee Montoya takes over and as the new question, and so then things happen. We get to this point much later. It's the Blackest Night crossover. Blackest Night is part of the storyline is that various dead heroes are being raised as zombies. So part of as kind of a joke-ish thing, several classic canceled series were brought back or raised from the dead to have one more issue. So the question had one more issue, which was 37, wherein we have Renee fighting the raised from the dead original question Vic Sage. So issue 37 there. Then during the original series' span, it had some annuals. We had again Shiva. This is again, if you don't understand 80s fashion, this was the height. Got the rolled up sleeves. Got the tight rolled pants. Just that's what we were doing, man. Mullets. Issue 1. This is actually a 3-part crossover with Green Arrow and Detective Comics, and as we speak, we have I think it's a Black Label series that's Batman, Green Arrow, and the Question coming out that is sort of a reflection of that. And then annual 2, we have Vic having a little crossover with Green Arrow, who was also the other sort of grim and gritty hero at the time, realistic kind of hero at the time. Then the Question got another series during when was this? Can't remember when this was. This was early 2000s maybe. Question had been showing up in Metropolis a little bit. Kind of does the angle here is it's very much he's in tune with the city. He can hear the city talking to him. This was not an angle they would really stick with, but that's he had a 6-part series there. Issue 1, and of course it's Metropolis, so there's Superman and all that kind of stuff. So then we get to kind of all that. He dies, and there's the 52, and Renee Montoya, and then very recently you get the Justice League Unlimited, where every superhero is a member of the Justice League, and Renee Montoya is put in charge of the security of the Watchtower, and so where all the superheroes meet. And then she has a 6-issue adventure figuring out there's something going on in the Watchtower, and she has to track down where the problem is. So issue 1, the Question all along the Watchtower through issue 6 of said series. Then after that original Question series ended, he had a quarterly. Just people liked him enough to buy him every quarter, not enough to buy him every month. So we got issue 1 of that. Through issue 5. Only lasted 5 issues. I guess for trademark preservation reasons, we had The Question Returns, so just a 1-issue, 1-shot in 97. Keeping the question alive. All right, then we go to Questprobe. So Questprobe was a video game, early computer video game. I believe it was. I mean, if it was more than 8-bit, I'd be surprised. A lot of, I think the game, a lot of it asking you questions and you just answering the questions, text-based kind of stuff. I never really played it or anything, but Marvel partnered with the makers of the game, Scott Adams, to do some one-shots, and the Marvel heroes appeared in the game. So there are individual this was going to be a 4-issue series. Only the first 3 were published. Issue 1, issue 1 being the Hulk, issue 3 being the Human Torch and the Thing. I think issue 2 is Spider-Man. Meanwhile, and then the 4th issue was not published, but the artwork was mostly done, and it was just stuck in a drawer, and it stayed there for a long time. And then over in Marvel Fanfare, they were always looking for things to publish, and so they pulled those out, and it ran as 1 issue of Marvel Fanfare, which I believe look for my box that mentions things in the Marvel F category, and you can see that the final issue of that. Then Quicksilver, brother of Scarlet Witch, Marvel's swiftest mutant, got his own series for a while, hanging out with the Knights of Wundagore, who are the animal man hybrids created by the High Evolutionary, and doing some various stuff. Maybe arguably being a little less insufferable during this series. Issue 1 through issue 8. Over in the Savage Land, John Ostrander of Suicide Squad doing the writing. Issue 9 versus Pyro and Avalanche, fellow mutants, evil mutants. Through 13, right there. Some getting into some more of the whole, are we the children of Magneto, or are we not the children of Magneto? Currently they are not, although Ostrander seems to have jumped ship before this point. And then he got another series during the Avengers No Surrender time frame. There is a point in time, so he's in the Avengers, and he has to run the fastest he's ever run before to stop something from happening, and he hits light speed or whatever, and then this entire series takes place while he's achieved that light speed, and just time has stopped, and he's dealing with some things, and something else he runs into while he's, the rest of the world's time has stopped, something like that. So that's issue 1 through issue 5 there. Then super recent, during the So the X-Men Age of Revelation storyline takes place 10 years of a possible future, and a lot of Earth's non-mutants have become mutated, and so Spider-Man has some things going on during that time frame. He's gotten kind of some extra arms and things, and this is just what's going on with him. So issue 1 through issue 3 of that. Alright, then we get to Ragman. So I picked up on Ragman, some later appearances, and just decided I thought he was cool. So he's one of those characters that I went back and picked up all of his previous appearances, and which is why I sometimes have some that are a little older than my normal 1976 starting point. But this guy, he's Rory, I forget, Rory something. And no, that's Mick Rory. I forget this guy's name. But he was, his father owned a junk store, kind of a junkyard kind of thing. And he had some buddies who were like a former strongman and a former gymnast and things like that. Well, they all get struck by lightning and they all die, but the rest of all of their abilities get passed on to him. And so he decides to become a superhero. He makes a costume of rags to be spooky, and becomes a superhero. Later on, it will get updated, kind of in one of those pre-crisis, post-crisis things, to where the suit is actually a magical suit, and gives him the powers. But Joe Kubert on art. Good stuff. Issue 2. There. Through issue 5. Right there. No, I'm sorry. They didn't get struck by lightning. They were gunned down by killers, and then the killers, like in the process of the shooting or something, an electrical line fell, and that's what caused the electrical charge that got into him. So that added that sense of vengeance. Sorry, I said that wrong. To the whole situation. He had to avenge them. So he appeared there. He made a couple of appearances, pretty cool appearances, in Batman Family. There was one where he and Batman switched costumes, which was pretty neat. Which, of course, like only works if the power is not in the suit, that it's in the guy. But then we get to post-crisis and they change it up, and it becomes in the guy, which I believe is what we deal with in this series from 91. And we get into and he hadn't really been I don't think they had stated he was specifically Jewish in the old series, but he's retroactively set as Jewish, and so it's much like the Golem. He become not Gollum, my precious, but the Golem, the statue that comes to life. This is the suit of tatters is a weapon that he can use, that the oppressed can use to fight back. So issue 1 through issue 8, little Batman guest star there, harkening back to their previous team-ups. He was also in Brave and the Bold, I think. Trademark Preservation one-shot. from December of 2010. Ragman, we would in general, I might not necessarily next, but we would see him in Shadow Pact. He had a live action version that appeared in the Arrow show. So lots of stuff going on. Suit of Souls. I think this is technically just Ragman. The Suit of Souls is not part of the title, but Ragman Cry of the Dead is part of the title. So he's got that. Sorry, the dog's having a good just got out and is having a good time here on this Saturday morning at reporting time. So issue 1 through issue 6. There. Joe Kubert coming back many years later, a couple of decades later, to work on this. A little sip. Next we have the Rampaging Hulk. So there had been a magazine-sized book called Rampaging Hulk that the title changed to just Hulk after a while. Or no, or was it the other way around? One or the other. So, but this is a little different, and I believe this came out at the same time that over in the regular Hulk book, he, was the Professor Hulk. He was, smart and could, had the brain of Bruce Banner, or did he? But anyway, so this was kind of like, hey, do you miss the, Hulk that goes around smashing things? Well, here you go. So, got issue 1, Rick Leonardi cover, through issue 6. There. We've got Rampaging Wolverine. There were several of these one-shots that had more pages, super issue, more thrills, and they were black and white, and I don't know what they were doing. They seemed to be, they were kind of a throwback to those magazine size by being black and white. I don't know what was going on, but they had different, there's Indomitable, Iron Man, and, some other ones, and so the rampaging here isn't tied to, it's not like a line of rampaging thing, not like the Immortal this, but I don't know what the goal was there, but this one shot, the Rampaging Wolverine. Get to, so there, okay, I'm going to cheat here a little, well, no, I'm not, okay. So, Infinite Crisis, there are 3 or 4 miniseries leading into Infinite Crisis. One of them is Rann-Thanagar War. Rann and Thanagar, Rann being the planet that Adam Strange visits and lives on, or visits temporarily, depending on when you're dealing with it. And Thanagar being the planet that the alien version of Hawkman comes from. They're constantly going at it. They're like in the same solar system, or they're neighboring solar systems or something. They just cannot get along. But anyway, and they're constantly they're constantly getting destroyed, and then the next thing you know, they're back. But anyway, a Rann-Thanagar War was implemented as part of the lead up to Infinite Crisis. So then after Infinite Crisis, apparently the war wasn't over. There came to be a holy war where this Onimar Sin guy, I believe, we're going to see him again, comes along and strikes up some fervor. But so basically taking that Rann-Thanagar War to the next level, continuing it based on its popularity. So we've got Bizarro, we've got some Omega Men, we've got Starfire, Animal Man, Starman, Cosmic Starman, And it's all Jim Starlin, cosmic goodness. Ron Lim, who did a lot of the cosmic stuff at Marvel. So issue 1 through issue 8. And then, because holy comes before the word war, alphabetically, now is the actual, we have the actual series that I was just describing. 5 months until Infinite Crisis. So again, yeah, build up to that. Got Rann and, we got the two factions there. Some Green Lantern and some others caught in between. This one written by Dave Gibbons, the artist on Watchmen and so many other things. Rod Rice, art. And this one finishes up right before Infinite Crisis. So lots of Thanagarians and Rannians biting the dust. So then after Infinite Crisis, but before the Holy War, we have the Rann-Thanagar War, Infinite Crisis special, just kind of a one-shot following up on, still by Dave Gibbons, following up on all that. Then we get to Ravagers. So, New 52, starting a lot of history over, and nowhere was that more shown more than here in Ravagers. So the Ravagers are a bunch of young people who are followers or captured by this guy named Harvest, and then they get away. It's new versions of a lot of the classic characters and a couple of new ones. And we've got, and so during the time when the Ravager series was running, they had a 0 issue. So this is the 0 issue, which features the new version of Terra with her long hair, and the red version of Beast Boy, which sort of made sense because it had been established over in the Swamp Thing type stuff and in Animal Man that, the plant life is the green and the animal world is the red. So a Beast Boy would more likely be red than green, but if you completely ignore all of the history of the character, which of course you can do in the New 52. So that's Ravager 0. But looking at actually Ravagers number 1, we've got they're trained to be killers, and they become heroes. We've got Terra, Beast Boy, Ridge is a new character. We've got Thunder and Lightning that were originally Korean, I believe, or Vietnamese in the old DC comics. We got, of course, this new version of Terra, and we've got Fairchild, who is from the Wildstorm Gen 13 sort of stuff. So issue 1 through 8. We've got Warblade coming in. We've got Rose, the daughter of Deathstroke the Terminator, who was actually, the original, Deathstroke's son, Grant, was the original Ravager by name, and then she took on the name Ravager from him. Right now they're being used as a name of a team, so she can't, I guess, be Ravager on her own. But issue 8, issue 9, right there, through issue 12. Most of them die or something, I don't know. I really should break this up into 6 and 6 instead of 8 and 4, shouldn't I? Anyway, so most of these go away, and then there's nothing formal, but the New 52 kind of has a revamp, and next time we see Beast Boy, he'll be green again, and we might see Terra. We never really see her in this form again. We kind of see her looking more like her old self. So Ravager's highly, if there's ever anything that was only existing on some Earth that was the New 52 Earth, that would be an example of it. Then we have Ravage 2099. So again, the 2099 series are mostly, in that year, new people taking on the identities of historical, from their perspective, heroes. Ravage was the first sort of original hero, and he starts off as like this genius inventor but he doesn't have any resources, so he has to build his weapons from junk, and he's kind of an environmental warrior or something like that. But later he winds up with superpowers and things like that. Issue 1, there. Through, see, hubcap, through issue 4. There. Issue 5 with Spider-Man 2099. The wife taking the dog out. Issue 12, Grant Mime. That's what I was trying to remember earlier. Was it may have been last video with Quasar. Grant Mime. Issue 12. So yeah, he's become, monster dude. Issue 13. Why do I have all these? Well, they're dollar box things, and kind of fun to read. Issue 13. 20 there, and 21 through 25. I don't remember if this is the last issue or just the last issue I have, but that's issue 25. So then we get into Raven. Of course, New Teen Titans is what brought me into comics, and I am somewhat old school, so Raven was really more, Dick Grayson, Donna Troy age, and then she died. And when she was resurrected, she came back younger, more of a Beast Boy age. And then somewhere along the line, originally her given name was Raven. But somewhere along the line that just became a code name, and her Rachel Roth became her, it was her regular name. So, some of the new stuff, is I miss some of the older status quo on her, but hey, I'll read it if it, whatever it is. And Marv Wolfman, her creator, comes along and is writing this series with the whole different aspects of her in place. So who am I to argue? So we've got this particular 6-issue series. She kind of goes and finds some of her other family, either here or in, I think it's in this one, yeah. She finds some of her family that she didn't know about and goes to live with an aunt or something, and, goes to high school, but, something bad happens. This is issue 1 through issue 6 right there. Then she had another series. Well, I say I'm willing to follow wherever she goes, but then of course I didn't get this. I didn't get this series in its original when it first came out. So for the first 6 issues, I have the trade. It doesn't help that it's got like this Baron Winters guy from Night Force, who I've never cared for the Night Force thing, but this is a trade of issues 1 through 6, right there. There. Blah blah blah. Try Raven, Daughter of Darkness. Alright, but then I did get 7 through 12 as back issues, and it's kind of cool. It's like there's a new Night Force with some of the young teenage magical characters, Zachary, Jentorra, and Tracy 13, and Black Alice, and what's his name, the Witch Boy, and Red Devil. Of course, we never saw this little team up again, but hey, they gave it a shot. Issue 7 through issue 12 there. Not a Western guy, but I had this book when I was a kid. It was like probably one of my brothers. It's the last issue, I believe, of Rawhide Kid, and I found it the other day, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I gotta get this. This is just for nostalgia purposes. So that's issue 141, last issue, I believe, of Rawhide Kid. Then he had a 4-issue limited series, John Byrne cover, and it just kind of picks up, and you know, in the late 80s, you know, so more of a slightly more sophisticated storyline for the Western character. Right there, issue 1 through issue 4. There. So then we have this Rawhide Kid miniseries, explicit content, and the whole thing is, okay, Rawhide Kid is gay, but it's all, you know, I've heard from at least one person who is gay that it's just not really, the way they do it is not appreciated, because it's just like, ah ha ha, he's gay, without, you know, there being an actual, you know, it having anything to do with his life or story or anything, and it's done all kind of done for humor. So kind of almost like a Will and Grace of Rawhide Kid. But that's issue 1. The covers are pretty good. You know, what's he doing with that gun? What's that supposed to represent? Yep. Through issue 5. Right there. The story I heard was that John Severin, the artist, did not know, you know, I guess nobody sent him the dialogue, so he didn't know what he was drawing, you know, what that aspect was going on. Anyway, so then we get to the Ray. So the Ray was originally a Quality Comics hero in the 1940s, drawn beautifully by the artist Lou Fine, and had a series of adventures. DC buys the Quality characters later, puts them on Earth X, where the Axis powers won World War II. Then some of those characters, including the Ray, moved to Earth 1 as the Freedom Fighters, and then they kind of go back to Earth X after a while. But then in the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths, they get rolled into normal, you know, the history of the single Earth that's left out, you know, no longer a multiverse, just one Earth. So then the original Ray, let's not pay any attention to how old he would have been at the point when this kid would have been born, but he has a son, and that son, he starts off with a kind of a birth defect. He can't be exposed to light, or he, you know, something goes bad. I can't remember what it was. There's a 4-issue miniseries introducing the Ray, which I just happened to have that in a trade. And then he got his own series, and that series ran for a while. And during that series, it was during the 0 hour, so he has a 0 issue here, which is kind of a beauty shot of the character on the cover. But then his actual issue 1, this is early work by Joe Quesada, who would go on to be editor-in-chief and whatnot of Marvel. Team fighting Superboy here in his first issue 1 through issue 8. Christopher Priest doing the writing, known for his Black Panther. Early for him, I'm sure, as well. Fighting Lobo. They kind of did everything they could to keep this guy top of the line. Issue 9. Right there. Through issue 16. Uh-oh, things not going well for the Ray. Issue 17. Apparently he has a younger brother who is even more out of control than he was. Through 24. Fighting Vandal Savage. Issue 25. We jump into a future. So the Ray's an older man. Impulse is the Flash. And they are having a time-related story. And 28. We get the final issue. Some dark stuff revealed in the Revelations. So Ray would, let's see, he'd be in Young Justice. What else? He pops up here and there. He's not completely gone. Then we get, he had an annual, year 1, which this was the year that, he had an annual, and this was the year that all of the DC annuals were year 1, which told early stories of the characters. Then we have this Ray series. So this is a completely different guy. And this was kind of an odd thing. This came out during the New 52, but you'll notice there's no New 52 logo on it. So the canonicity, if you will, is a little weird. And there were at least 3 of these. There was Phantom Lady, there was the Ray, and there was what was the other one? We just Human Bomb. And they're all recreating these quality characters, these Freedom Fighters characters, with new identities and new setups and everything. And then in all cases, we never see them again. So I don't know what was going on there. So you just kind of have to take it as this is just a kind of a one-shot, beginning, middle, and end sort of thing. But issue 1, and more than one, I think the other ones were written by Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti too. So at least the Phantom Lady, I think, was. So interesting. Anyway, the Ray, number 1 through number 4. There. Alright, then we get so Realm of Kings is another one of those cosmic reshuffling of who's going to be in charge of Marvel's outer space stuff. Realm of Kings is this is kind of scary, kind of some scary demonic versions of the Avengers and whatnot. But this is just a one-shot. I don't think there was an actual Realm of Kings miniseries. I think it was a series of different miniseries with other titles and then some crossovers and things. But so that's that one shot, Realm of Kings. We got Realm of Kings Imperial Guard. So the big superpowered from the Shi'ar side of things. Their superpowered army, who all are actually derivated from the Legion of Superheroes. If you look at them. If you think about it, that's issue 1 through issue 5. Some painted stuff there. Realm of Kings, Inhumans. Right there, the Inhumans were created by the Kree on Earth. And so they go back off into space, and there's a sense of, well, you created us, so we're going to take over kind of thing. Issue 1 through issue 5 on that. So sister on sister fighting there. Realm of Kings, Son of Hulk. So during the whole Planet Hulk situation, you had I think there were two sons of that the Hulk managed to spawn while he was there. One of them is Scar, who kind of looks looks like the Hulk, and the other one is this guy, I can't remember his name, who he kind of has the more, he takes after his mother a little more, if you will. And he is here, this seems to be a loose tie-in to whatever is going on in Realm of Kings, but he's going off to the world of Jarella, which is a microscopic world that the Hulk had visited, and also had a lady he loved there and things like that. It's issue 1 through issue 4 of that. We have Realm of X, one of many little mini-series taking place during the Krakoa period. And the X-Men, issue 1 through issue 4 there. Kind of a New Mutants, I believe, looks like. Reunion, kinda. Lady New Mutants, girl New Mutants. Then we get to Rebels 94. So you had Legion, with the dots, which was coming out of Invasion. They were some characters who had gotten involved, been captured and got, made their way free. And when it was all over, they decided to form like an intergalactic police force, which their leader was Brainiac 2. And there was always a question of, was he really, had altruistic, reasons, or was he just trying to control the universe? So, during that time, Brainiac 2 and Vril Dox is actually what he mainly called, and Stealth have a child. It's a baby, or as a baby, the baby, because it's his child, has genius level brilliance, and decides that he needs to be the leader of Legion, and kicks the rest of them out, and is trying to sort of manage the universe with a heavy hand. So the former Legion central team become Rebels. I don't think it stands for anything. And at the time, every year they would change the name of the series to match the year for some reason. But I usually just ignore that part. So this is Rebels 94 during the 0 hour. They have their 0 issue. Got Lobo. Hey, Lobo. And then got some Green Lantern. So we got, well, so now the real issue 1. But unlike a lot of the series where the 0 hour issue came later, this was actually the first issue was issue 0. So that's why issue 1 is kind of like things are already going on. Issue 1 through issue 8. There was one kind of funny bit when we get to it. Right there, issue 8. Issue 9. Stealth. There's the baby. The Shadow Lass equivalent, the ancestor of the normal Legion of Superheroes. She kind of sticks with his side of things. Issue 9. Okay, well, we got to the end too quick, so I'll have to just tell the story. So, these two are... that is a female, even though, it looks male, but she's female, and he's male, and they fall in love, and they decide to quit this whole Legion Rebels thing, and they go to another planet where they are the only 2 members of their races on this planet, right? So they are, and they're living together and whatnot. So each of them, or he at least, maybe both of them, decides to become like a vigilante to fight crime on this planet. And so he just puts on just a domino mask, just ties a little mask around his face. And she can't recognize him with the mask on, despite the fact, and I think it might have worked both ways, but despite the fact that they're the only members of their race on this planet, the fact that he's got a mask on prevents her from recognizing. And I'm like, yeah, that's how masks in comic books are supposed to work. The disguises work. They don't. You don't have to. You're not supposed to have to think about it too much. So anyway, final issue of Rebels, issue 17. Then, years later, in 2009, we get a new Rebels series, and I don't know why they went with Rebels instead of Legion on this again, but, a lot of the slate gets wiped clean, some things get wiped under the rug a little bit, blame it on Infinite Crisis or whatever. But, we have Vril Dox coming out with another interplanetary police force, but whereas Legion was often hearkening back to Legion of, and maybe this is why, answering my first question, Legion was, the members were often hearkening back to members of the actual future Legion of Superheroes. If you kind of set them side by side, these members of his new team are kind of relevant to, or kind of seem like the Fatal Five, who are villains in the Legion universe. So most notably Validus, the big giant guy with the brain and the glass thing, with the electrical, so this is that's very Validus-like. That's very one of them is very Mano-like, and things like that. So, but you did have to have the block variant in there. So, just kind of giving it another shot. But, another cosmic series, issue 1. through issue 8. We've got a new variation on the Omega Men. There. Issue 9 with Adam Strange and Captain Comet both joining the Rebels. So let's spice it up. Let's get some names in here. Got issue 16. A couple of new Green Lanterns. I think which they're introduced here. I think they do eventually show up in the regular Green Lantern Corps book. They weren't just totally forgotten. Issue 17. Real Docs, Real in the Universe, or so he thinks. At least ruling Thanagar, home of the Hawk people. Hawk people. Issue 24. Starfire's joined. Lobos come back. This is that month that all the DC covers kind of look like this, with the white, with the characters on it. 25. Got a Red Lantern ring. Some stuff going on with that. Starro. And we finish out with issue 28. Just another beauty shot of our heroes. That guy looking even more Validus looking than he did before. Oh, I remember. This was the series where, so Starro had been this big giant starfish, right? And in this series, they present the concept that Starro was originally a guy, and that the guy there's an original guy, like a humanoid guy alien who is the original conqueror, and he sends these starfish out into the world, into the universe, to conquer on his behalf. So, it's another one of those you've never met the real thing, now you're meeting the real thing kind of situations. But nobody's ever revisited that. Everybody's pretty much gone back to, it's an alien starfish. It is what it is. So we get some of that there's the humanoid Starro right there. Nice try, dude. Not buying it. So Reckoning War. Dan Slott had been building up to something over in Fantastic Four and some other things that he'd been writing, and so this was a one-shot, kind of almost like a Reckoning War alpha, he's about to tell that story called The Reckoning War. The issue, that one shot right there. Red Circle. So MLJ Archie Comics had a line of superheroes back in the 40s and 50s, and they at some point got reused under the trade name the Red Circle Comics. So then DC takes a shot at it and utilizes the Red Circle branding as just a way to tell the difference. And so they have these. Oh, and a lot of them had been used under the Impact name, Impact Comics, but this was Red Circle. Same names, different versions of the characters. And so this was a series of one-shots introducing some of those characters. So we have Red Circle the Hangman, through Red Circle the Web. Right there. J. Michael Straczynski doing some writing on that. Then we get to Red Goblin. Red Goblin is tied up into the whole Venom Carnage thing. It's a symbiote that is attached to Normie Osborn, the grandchild of Norman Osborn, and it kind of will just coat him. So it's another, symbiote situation. That's all right. Issue 1. It consists of, Normie, really being a lot more competent than his age should allow for. But be that as it may, issue 1, Red Goblin. Another beauty shot there. Ew, he's ugly. Issue 7. So they're making him look a little older here, but no, he's 10. Issue 7. And don't get into the fact that he's grown from, baby to 10 when in a time frame that, Peter Parker is hasn't aged 3 years. There, issue 10. Alright. Then we get to Red Hood and the Outlaws. So it's the new 52. Everything's different. We have a new history. So let's just take some of our characters and use them in new ways. So Scott Lobdell launches this series, and let me get past the 0 issue. So of course the series runs for a bit, and like a lot of the series after the first year, it got a 0 issue. So that's the 0 issue. But looking at the first issue, it's a team up of Red Hood, Jason Todd, the former the second Robin, who was dead for a while but got better, and then he's teaming up with Roy Harper, the former sidekick of Green Arrow, and then Starfire, formerly of the New Teen Titans. But here's the trick. Green Arrow is pretty much a young adult in this, he's maybe, 30. So it's more of a brotherly than a fatherly thing. At this point it's got to be, because there's not that much age difference. And this was heavily criticized. Scott Lobdell, I guess it would be fair to say he does not have a lot of reverence for what has come before. And so he kind of would look at the top line, but especially in this situation where it's, it's a whole new history, top line situation, where, what are the basic features of the character, and just go with that, ignoring, any depth beyond that. And so he presents Starfire here as someone who will just kind of randomly have sex with anybody she feels like, and doesn't really remember anything, and, has a bad long-term memory or short-term memory or whatever, just kind of so she's kind of a sex doll here at first. And that did not go over well with a lot of the fans, and I don't blame them. But with a Scott Lobdell book, you kind of gotta assume, come at it from the point of view of knowing that the writer, again, does not have a lot of reverence for what has been written before with the characters. He's just here to tell his stories, and he's going to do whatever he will with the characters. So anyway, that's issue 1 through issue 4. We do get some, I guess kind of early Kenneth Rocafor you know, the art's good, if you will. Issue 4. Issue 5. And R.E.B.E.L.'s creating a lot of new mythology as well. Through issue 12. There. The team goes off into space. And they hook back up with the sister, Starfire's sister, Blackfire. Through issue 20. Got James Tynion coming on, so changing a little of the tone. Upgrading, presumably the level of, well, we'll just leave it alone. It's a different writer. Let's just say that. Issue 21 versus Hugo Strange. '28. There. 29. Couldn't really hold a writer for too long. Got Pfeiffer now writing. 31. Lobo. But hey, guess what? R.E.B.E.L. comes back. Maybe, I guess it was selling better under him. Couldn't, for better or worse. So we got, but this is a big boy book, presumably because of the Starfire image there, the Ed Benes cover here. Let's face it. There. 33. More Ed Benes. So you get R.E.B.E.L. Well, Benes is just doing the covers. Okay, I started to say you get Benes and R.E.B.E.L. together, and you're gonna, it's gonna be some serious fan service. 33 through 40. So this team kind of breaks up at this point. But the series, I'm trying to remember the order it goes in. So then it becomes Red Hood. I think Red Hood and Arsenal. There's Red Hood and Arsenal, and then there's Red Hood Outlaw. I forget which one is in. I mean, we'll see them next video, but maybe by then I'll remember what order they're published in. But and then there's the second Red Hood and the Outlaws series. But there's that one, into that, and there were a couple of annuals there. Issue 1 and annual 2. And with that, we come to the end of this box. Okay, so that finishes up that box. Next time, we will get into some more Red Hood and the Outlaws, and the Red Hood Arsenal, and some other Red Hood stuff. Red She-Hulk, Red Sonja, Relative Heroes, big name, Resurrection Man, Richard Dragon, The Riddler, Rise of Apocalypse, and we're going to finish up with some Robin solo series. So thanks so much for being here. Please like, comment, subscribe. Those are all great things for the channel. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for being here this time. And hey, have a great day.